Previously on Illusion of Gaia.
In the arms of the angel, fly away.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to another episode of Nathan Plays Illusion of Gaia. My name is Nathan, and this is Illusion of Gaia on the Super Nintendo. We're at part 13. So much is happening these days. Who even knows where to begin? After that rather traumatizing event at the village, we moved on to the Temple of Angkor Wat, or we're about to head there, as a matter of fact. I don't know if there's any clear or particular reason for doing this. It just seems like a place to explore. We're looking for those statues, the weird ones. I can never remember the names of anything in this game. They're still doing their dance around the pig. Hey guys, can I dance with you? Too soon? Okay, I'm taking off. So, from the natives' village, it's a short jaunt through the woods and across the plains to Angkor Wat. Wat. The outsides of Angkor Wat are slightly barren, some bushes around. Through the jungle, 3 days' journey from the native village, there's a huge temple. It's so difficult to get a sense of space and time with this world map. Sometimes things take weeks, and they're right over. And something that's right over there is a couple of days away. So I decided to start by exploring the grounds a little bit. Discovered that the slightly darker bushes have legs and scoot around, so that's kind of interesting. Take out some of those before heading on. And another new enemy type, these sort of creepy alien head things that walk around, and apparently take no damage whatsoever. You'll notice they don't have a health bar in the upper right, and I can hit them as much as I want with no effect. I tried my special attacks, nothing. Did the slide, and nothing seemed to phase that guy. I presume that I'll have some sort of way of dealing with him later on. The other new enemy is this super annoying fly that I deal with by just sort of standing in one spot and mashing the button like crazy. I knew I'd have to come back and mop up this area eventually, so I decided not to worry about the flies and just head on to the temple proper. Passage outside. Well, I mean, it's inside the passage outside. We have another new enemy type. These sort of shrunken head looking things kind of fly around in a figure eight. They're very annoying, but seemingly not too terribly difficult to kill, provided you're standing in the right spot. For some reason, I popped back outside just to, take a look at the map and actually see if those things registered as enemies, which they do. The alien headmen. I thought I wanted to take a quick look around, but there was really nothing to see out there, so I headed back inside and found stone golems. They assemble in front of you, do sort of a spinny attack, and are generally not super difficult to deal with, as you can see. Not a lot going on there. Certainly not as bad as the ones in the underwater in the city of Mu. A little further on, the heads exhibited a new behavior, which is that if you don't kill them right away, after a certain amount of rotations on their figure eight pattern, they'll split into two sort of ghostly transparent heads, and they'll come at you, and you can't damage them while they're doing that, and you basically just have to wait it out. It's kind of annoying. Found a red jewel over here, in this little half-pipe section here. Come back there for some skateboarding. It looks pretty rad. And just above, we saw a brief glimpse of another new enemy that we'll get to later on. See, there again, that's the sort of ghost head technique there. Not much to do besides wait it out and just wait for them to go back to their annoying pattern. But if you get kind of at the arc there, at the apex, I think is the word, hopefully. Another new enemy. Of course, every time I have to use the spin, I forget how to use the spin, and so it takes me a couple tries just to get it right. This guy drifts around the outside of the wall area of the area there in sort of typical Legend of Zelda fashion, and every time you hit him, he speeds up. It's also annoying, but not too terribly difficult to deal with. A well-placed slide kick, and you're on your way. For some reason, I felt compelled to check down the sides there, even though there's clearly nothing there. And here we have that other new enemy. First, a golem to take care of. And we're going to call those wall bugs, because I am terribly unoriginal today. The wall bugs will shoot at you from a distance as soon as you get close, and when you get close enough to attack, they spit out little wormies that go back and forth and are pretty easy to kill, but just sort of, in the way. That shot is actually the worst thing to deal with. You can't see it in the recording, but they flicker when they die. They don't just sort of sit there for a while and disappear. After dealing with those two pesky purple heads, we have two more wall bugs who are putting up quite a little bit of a fight there as they fire bullets at me, and I try my best to valiantly dodge them. Some of them I do, some of them I take right in the face. Not a big deal. Killing the one on the right opens the way forward with a slide that we're going to get to in a second. Killing the one on the left presumably gets me nothing. Excuse me, nothing but satisfaction. Ouch. Sometimes I wish I was better at video games, Anyway. Whoa. Well, the next little bit was boring. So we'll skip to the end of this corridor, in which I finish off a stone golem and get a defense increase. Big ups to the music in this area for actually being kind of intimidating and really sort of setting the tone for the dangerous kind of area that this is. Here I dealt with some purple heads pretty quickly, so we'll just kind of skip past that. And thanks to one of them flying into my butt, that was an easy job. I jumped down and oh no! Where am I? I panicked and checked my inventory without waiting for the lights to come on their own. And what are those? No, really, what are those? They make sort of a noise when I walk around on them. My best guess is that they're supposed to be bugs of some kind, but incidentally, I was never able to figure it out. The version of my original recording is a little bit clearer, and even still, I'm not able to guess at what that is. I mean, it's weird, right? I mean, the carpet's not supposed to writhe like that. I don't really think floors of any kind should writhe. But here we are. Okay, well, I'll just leave and we'll never speak of that area again, hopefully. Back to the mundane business of killing stupid floating heads. Skip past that stuff because it's not very fun to watch. We have one more wall bug, which goes down surprisingly easily. 11 points of damage per shot instead of 7 as before. And I get another defense increase. Also, the stairs. Which one is better? If you don't manage to get them on the first couple of arcs, then they just waste a lot of your time. I think that's all why they bother me so much. Further on in this room, I had more wall bugs to deal with, kind of in a row, several of them. I figured out that a good slide takes out their worm defenses pretty quickly. And the last one gave me an HP increase, as well as a much needed refill, as you can see. I've come back full circle to the hole that I fell down. I was a little bit nervous that there would be other ones in the area, but there don't appear to be. And if I were to use my spinny thing, I could go forward from there. The golems exhibit a new behavior, which is to hop off of the ledge that they're standing on and cause a bunch of rocks to fall down, but that trick only appears to work once. For some reason, I chose to deal with the heads first, and use my incredible Jedi trick of just mashing on the button again, hoping that the timing works out. Obviously, it takes a little bit of extra doing. Not entirely sure why I picked that order of operations, because these things are much easier to deal with, as you can see. Momentary lapse of reason, but it worked out in the end. I did lose quite a bit of health. Here we have a few of them on the sides, and that one finally got me. But it wasn't a big task to take care of them. A couple of wall bugs, and then we appear to have hit a bit of a dead end, as a matter of fact. There's a chest there. There's a ramp. For some reason, I try my charge attack on it. Well, let's grab the chest. Didn't really look like the ramp was necessary to get the chest, and so I didn't really think much of it. And there's a platform there, perhaps to come in from the other side. I wasn't entirely sure. So I wasted a bit of time going back and forth. I backtracked a little bit, trying to figure out how I could get past this little block here, when finally the answer came to me. Let's launch over it. Woo! Work like a charm. A couple more golems to deal with. That one got the drop on me, you might say. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. And this one summons a pitiful 2 rocks. Come on, man. You can do better than that. Give up that strength increase, buddy. And he did. I'm back to passage outside, which had a lot of flying heads, a lot of purple heads, and a lot of tedium. So I will excise most of this room in the name of efficiency. But you can see they kind of set up this big section in the middle with a bunch of little blocks, and the heads just sort of waiting there. And then you hit it once, and you get to wait for it to come around and play this game over and over and over. Of course, you have to do it, because if you don't get the power-ups in the room, and you want those. So this comes all the way back to the beginning of the entrance to the temple. This was the bug that very, very briefly I saw earlier. I don't think we've seen that before, that the wormies crawl up and down. But I got a strength increase, and I got these stairs so that I can, sort of an easy shortcut to get out of the area if I need to. The game is usually pretty good about that, as we've seen in the past. Going forward led to sort of a garden, a courtyard in the middle of the temple. And my map did show that there's a save point nearby, which I was really wanting at this point. So it's time to start hunting for it. There it is, but just tantalizingly out of reach on the other side of those impassable bushes. Oh well, time to take the long way around. You gotta love the things they find for barriers in video games. Tiny rocks, bushes, what have you. Half-broken doors. It's indestructible. There's nothing we can do. The save point has a conversion kit. Change into the Dark Knight Freedan. It's a pretty good deal. I am hoping at this point that his sword or some sort of attack will have an effect on these things. Sadly, it does not appear to. Still no health bar in the upper right, but they register as enemies on my map, so I'm holding out hope that I'll have some way of dealing with them later on. My cool fireball attack doesn't even work. I tried to get the extra effect there and it worked, but it just didn't take. Nothing doing. Well, at least I can take out my rage on these flies. Oh, there's some bones over there. Let's go check it out. The bones of a lost explorer, fascinated by something. That's not really that new. We crossed the jungle to the native village. We didn't understand the language, but they beckoned for us to stay. When I awoke in the morning, only Captain Freezer and I remained. Oh ho ho ho, who called it? I mean, I haven't found the bones of Captain Freezer yet, but I really did. When I met those guys back in Euro City, I was quite sure I'd be finding their corpse later on. Anyway, he writes a little more about the difficulties of the journey and how this temple is a terrible, terrible place, which I had figured out on my own. Thank you. Explorers seem to have like 100% mortality rate in this universe. Anyway, on to the next temple area, which has more purple heads. Yay! This is how I'm able to cut down 45 minutes of recording to like 20 minutes of video. I had a pretty good shot on that golem there and decided to go take on the next one. But it exhibits a curious behavior. Actually, first I tried to cheese it and shoot through the wall. It never stops spinning. It moves in the way. It wasn't in the way before, and as soon as you get anywhere close, it walks in front of you and just doesn't stop. And while it's spinning, it is invulnerable. It cannot be affected by your attacks. Well, I suppose I'll come back and find a different way to take care of that situation. Another hopping golem, only 2 rocks, but that one actually got me, so joke's on me. Eggs on my face this time, or rocks on my face, as the case may be. Further up the corridor, some purple heads on the side, some quick shots make quick work of them. I really do like that ability. I've been using it quite a bit since discovering it. And why not? It does a lot of damage, and it also does, like, area damage, splash stuff, kind of. Unfortunately, these guys were a little too close quarters to be able to pull it off properly. But I made short work of them all the same. A defense increase. Huzzah. And another save point. Well, that didn't take that long. Why would that be? Oh, a new power for Freedan. You're a earthquaker, love taker. Earthquaker can now be used. The Earthquaker is a dark power that can only be used by Freedan, the Dark Knight. Excuse me. This causes earthquakes. The enemy won't be able to move for a long time. Push the attack button when jumping down. Well, that's by far the simplest one I've had so far. Gaia proceeds to tell me about the Earthquaker again, but doesn't really add any information that we didn't just get from the statue. Well, it's time to see this thing in action. I give you an area to jump down. I Earthquake. And he's frozen. Perfect. It's also a little funny because it seems like one of those video game powers that's ridiculously specific. I mean, like a fireball or, you know, a charge attack I can use all the time, but a thing that I can jump off of ledges and freeze guys with kind of... I wonder how much that's actually going to come up in practical usage on a regular basis. I did loop back into the earthquaking area or nearby to get a strength increase to finish off those last 2 wall bugs, and then I found this passageway with some monkeys guarding it, and I'm like, nah, we'll come back to the monkey passage. Elsewhere, in that long corridor that was leading upwards, found a bunch of heads and got myself an HP increase, as well as another red jewel. Now it's time for the monkey passage. This was just sort of a little dead-end hallway there, just to get some extra stuff. You gotta be careful about these things. You gotta clean these areas out. Another courtyard. The road to the main hall. Road to the main hall, which contains another whole bunch of these stupid walking around head thingies. And a very large temple area. Still really hoping for some way of dealing with them. Perhaps I should have tried the Earthquaker, but I didn't really register anything that I could jump off of. And in any case, damaging them is not the problem. Or maybe it is. There's a chest there. And a winding passageway going up and in. I headed upstairs. Setting 1 foot inside, the floating crystal started to glow. And I go blind. Okay. Maybe we'll come back to that. Explore the rest of the downstairs first. Ha, pretty nice shot there, if I do say myself. I see a save point there. We'll have to try and come around to that. It looks like it will have to be gotten to from above. And this leads outside. Finishing off the last purple head in this area got me a strength increase. Yep, every time I go upstairs, doesn't seem like I can hit those crystals. And as long as I don't move, it stays fine. But as soon as I do, everything goes white. You can sort of get a sense of where the passages are by watching the heads, but I also want to kill the heads. And then I fell down and found the save point. Hey, nice. Curiously, it contains the ability to change back to young Will. Usually when something like this comes along, I've learned in the game so far that if they give you the opportunity, you may as well take it. Gaia gives me some cryptic backstory about the temple and how I'll understand at the top floor why I came. I'm guessing it's for another one of those statues, but probably she means something deeper than that. I ran up there with Will a couple of more times, and I have to confess that I got stuck. I have not been able to progress past this point. I did explore a little bit off to the other side, but mostly what that netted me, kind of drive around until you feel like you've hit a wall, but there's no good way to orient yourself that I could tell. Did manage to finish those things off, and then I find a hole, and that just chucks me down back in some random point earlier on in the main hall first floor. Finding the save point was a bit of a stroke of luck, but it seems very difficult to tell where you're going, so I headed back to the save point, saved my data, and decided I would call it a video and take a little bit of a break and see if I can come back to the problem with fresh eyes next time. So, on part 14, we're going to tackle the white light of craziness, or I could have just left it at white light. That was a much better name. Why did I keep talking? We'll tackle the white light, we'll see what's at the top of the temple, and we'll hopefully make some progress in the illusion of Gaia. Thank you ever so much for watching. Have a happy new year. I hope you had a decent Christmas so far, and as always, see you next mission.